There are some great places to visit right here in our own backyard, and who better to take us on those trips than the managed mom herself, Rachel Harris. How are you?
I'm wonderful. How are you, Brad?
I'm doing good, and this is so cool because we were talking that we wish we would have taken our kids to more of these places when we were, when they were younger and we had them. But also, I love too is that you got to fulfill one of your bucket lists with this journey that you took. And tell everybody what it was again.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm in my Fab 50s, empty nesting, and so one of my bucket list wishes was to try my hand at travel reporting. So I found out about a great international travel website that folks are going to want to know about called TwoWanderingSouls.com. So I submitted an application, and I got really lucky they accepted it because they get apps from all over the world. So I was just thrilled. So then when they told me I had the gig, what surprised me is they wanted me to go on 15 day trips. So I did it, Brad. I had a blast.
I know, and these day trips are literally, anywhere from, we can say it, a half hour to a couple hours, 3 hours or anything like that. But they're worth going to. And again, I wish we would have did it when our kids were younger and they would have enjoyed them. And that's the state parks that we have right here in our own backyard. Do you know how many do we have? Do we know?
I don't know, but I hit some of them, and there are so many more I want to go to. State 48, we don't have to leave our home state. There's so much to do. And the great thing about the state parks, the price is right. Some of them even have free days if you're checking the website.
I love it. Okay, where'd you go on this one?
So this is the Montezuma Castle National Monument. Have you been there?
I have been there, but I understand a lot has changed and a lot of new things have featured there now because it's almost like they're discovering more and more of this place.
Oh yeah, and it's just an hour, 30-minute drive, only $10, and kids under 15 get in for free, so the budget is right. Look at that picture. It's just amazing. It's like you're going back in time when you see these cave dwellings that were built over 1,000 years ago and by the Sinagua, I think I said that right, tribes.
Yeah.
And there's also a great walking path that you want to take. It's an easy stroll, and as you're walking along, there are signs that tell you about the plants. Like for example, there was a sign, I'm standing there, that's a sycamore tree, and it tells you that parts of the tree were used to hold the roof beams in place for these cave dwellings.
Wow.
Still there.
Yeah.
They also talk about plants that were used for medicine and foods, so it's really educational for the kids.
Yeah.
And don't skip the museum when you first arrive or when you're leaving, because it's small, but it's full of really interesting educational tips. One thing I learned, they showed a rabbit's leg bone and then explained that it was used to make a needle that was then used to make shoes.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting because, like I said, when I went there, I went through this a little bit. We kind of did it fast. I don't know why. But I will say with me, I was just thinking, how awesome would it be to live in those dwellings up there and how they got up there? So you learn so much about it.
Oh, it's fascinating, yeah. And they also had like this video presentation. Make sure you do that if you go back, that you want to show the kids, because it shows like little models of people back in the day in the dwelling, but then they compare what was similar about what we do today. Like there's a mom trying to hold a kid from falling off the dwelling, you know? So it was really interesting stuff for sure.
Yeah, and I like these, like we said, these trips are just easy to do. That you can literally start right here in Phoenix and travel all the way up north to stay up for the weekends in places.
And then once you leave the Montezuma Castle, just go 11 miles north to the Montezuma Well.
Ooh.
And I was really interested to know, how interesting is this going to be, this body of water, but it is fascinating. It is a natural limestone sinkhole. It's one of the most studied bodies of water in the world. It pumps 1,500,000 gallons of water that's constantly flowing from this deep underground sunken spring. And it's always warm, and fish can't live in it because it's got a very interesting chemical balance, but there are species that only live in this body of water. Such a great educational trip to take your kids on. And then make sure you take the hike around the park, because we found this serene, beautiful stream. Some great picture opportunities, and it was just really relaxing. There it is.
Yeah.
It's just so, if you look beyond the trees, you can see the stream.
Yeah.
It was just beautiful. And again, because it's a state park, the price is right. You do want to check the website though, because sometimes they're closed because of the elements. And then with every city I covered, every area, I included an insider tip. And who knew that my favorite Italian restaurant I've ever discovered was in Camp Verde? Have you heard of Moscato Restaurante?
No, I passed it.
You gotta go. The
Do
food
I?
is phenomenal. Look at inside too. It's
Yeah.
got different rooms, like it's like an old house. There's also a wine cellar, and that's a coffee drink I had. They put ice cream in it.
Ooh.
Oh, for dessert. But I want to go back because it was so good.
Okay, I got it, because that's the way I go up to go camping up there, and there's some really good, delicious little
Yes.
like restaurants there. People like, you know, you think, oh, it's Camp Verde, nothing's gonna be good. So
You gotta try that one if you love Italian food, and bring a designated driver because next time I'm going back, I'm having the wine.
So yeah, there's some really cool little wine places around there. You and I
Absolutely.
we need to do a trip. How about we go on a journey?
Please, let's do it.
Let's
And
do
you know
it.
what's inspiring about that too? We're empty nesters.
Yes.
And guess what, folks? Life begins again in that new chapter of being an empty nester. I'm ready, Brad. Let's
All
go.
right, let's do it. Tell people where the website is to find out more about the trips that you've taken.
Yep, so those two and the 13 others are at twowanderingSouls.com.
Okay.
And then my own website blog is managedmoms.com.
There you go. Thank you, Rach, for coming in.
Thanks
Thanks
for
for
having
trips.
me.
So there you go. I always like when she comes in. I always learn something new. So there you go.
And I'll be back. I've got more trips we're going to cover here soon, a couple
All right.
weeks.
All right.